do you think the greatest challenge is getting up in the morning?
Finding a reason to get up in the morning.
Where do you draw your inspiration besides God?
Anime, manga, things that are interesting.
What got you into that stuff?
Family.
Do you remember the first manga that you ever laid eyes on?
Yeah, I remember watching Naruto back at the crib on my sister's laptop. Or no, on the sister's PC. I just remember seeing A1 visuals.
What's your definition of A1 visuals?
Things you'll never see a human do in real life. Fast, action, pacing, just exciting.
These A1 visuals, do they make it harder for you to watch real movies, as in with real people?
I think I've become disappointed in a lot more of those movies, because I think, well, if we're thinking back to that time where I first saw it, I didn't know really why I liked anime yet. The first one I saw wasn't Naruto, actually. It was probably Dragon Ball Z. But the first anime that I watched that wasn't in English was probably Naruto.
Why didn't you not watch it in English?
It wasn't licensed yet, so there were no...
Hey, shut the fuck up already.
What was the question again?
Just, it wasn't licensed, the anime wasn't licensed, so you watched it in different language.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the visuals. Are you disappointed in, like, non-animated movies because, they're not as A1 visuals?
They're not as action-packed. You're definitely not gonna see, CGI action scenes as fluid or as well shot as you would in an anime. Like, the direction is just gonna be different because of the devices that are used and the frame rate and everything, Like speed. The speed of someone during a fight is so different between like a mixed martial arts film and like a mixed martial arts anime. Like, there's just something swift to just the art style that comes with hand-drawn images that gives it just something more.
You talk about hand-drawn images. What's your take about using more, not so much hand-drawn, but using animation or animation tools to 3D or 2D make the image?
I think that, I'm rereading a manga right now that uses 3D generated images and then uses stencils over that. And that's actually very typical industry practice. Like, even the hand-drawn images use 3D modeling as like a base. But I'm actually getting used to that kind of imagery. There's definitely an issue because the frames per second is awkward. The way they set up the images using 3D models can cause some confusion or make it look unnatural. But those 3D CGI stuff, it's okay, but it's just not the same as anime. There's a lot of visual techniques that anime uses to make up for that lack of frame rate, and that has an effect that is unique to it. Like, watch Ajin. You can watch all those, but then you watch Naruto and you'll see, even with their 15 frame rates per second, like, some clean stuff is going on. And it just looks more visually appealing.
What was your first, before I ask that, what is your favorite hand-drawn anime?
Hand-drawn anime. I don't even know if I like anime all that much. My favorite anime, probably, I would say the best one I've watched is Hunter x Hunter, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's my favorite, you know? Dragon Ball Z, man, just the weight of those clashes was crazy, even though the show itself was terrible. So in a sense, it's my favorite, even though it's not the best.
What do you think about Miyazaki films?
I think they're cool and all. He has a message, but if dudes aren't throwing hands, you know, if there's not that high tension, you know, adrenaline, it doesn't have that manliness to it. Princess Mononoke was nice, had some manly scenes, just real testosterone pump stuff that was still like mentally engaging. But ultimately, like, Miyazaki isn't in it for just flashy, you know, exciting visuals. So I can't expect too much in that area. But it's cool, you know, his strong female leads, that's really cool, you know. That's very different from what's been going on.
You like a lot of action-packed things. Where do you draw the line from action to plot line? Because you said action, DBZ, really good action, really just heavy hits, but the plot line was
Lacking.
not on par of what you expected or wanted. Would you prefer a more action-packed thing or something with a better plot?
See, DBZ, its action was just, it's not that the plot line was just, you know, straight garbage. Sometimes it was, but it wasn't overtly complex. Like, you know, they weren't trying to twist your brain in knots, you know, to get to a point or something. So since it was simple, you know, it was easier to focus on the aspect of combat. You know, like combat was more of the plot than people know. Power levels were huge. People's mindsets going into fights were huge, and that was a bigger part of the plot than anything else, honestly. Where do I draw the line between plot and action? It depends. You know, action can either be an extra or it can be what drives the plot. You know, if it's a fighting show, action needs to drive the plot. You know. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is probably my favorite, actually, all around. I like the story, even though it was basic, relative, but it came earlier, so a lot of people built off of that, or it built off some things as well, but it was one of those earlier joints that was just fresh, man. Yusuke had character, and the action, the fights, you know, built his character. His training built his character. That's not always necessary. But then again, I focus on watching fighting / martial arts, action, manga, manhwa, anime, all that good stuff. Man.
So someone new to anime, manga, this will be the last statement. I want to hear from you. What would you say to them? To someone that's new to the genre of anime and manga, where would you direct them? Where would you guide them to?
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you decided to end with that. Because there's honestly so much. What you like, I probably wouldn't like, you know? Because we have different interests. Anime itself isn't really the genre. Like I said, I focus on action / martial arts / fighting and stuff. Know what you like and you'll find it. There's some great romantic stories. There's some great horror out there. There's some great psychological. There's some great dramas. And I've dabbled in those. But ultimately, what I'm looking for is some really good fight logic, some really interesting characters, and you pretty much got a good chance of getting to me. So know what you like, and you can probably find it in the anime. And I mean, there's some finer aspects to finding out what you like art style. How these characters are drawn can tell you a lot about their character. If a character is drawn very similarly to the rest of everybody else, it'll be hard for you to connect with them as a distinguished person. But those are just finer elements, that come with refined taste after you've read a lot, or you've watched a lot, or you critiqued a lot. But yeah, man, there's always something for you to find that you like. So, somebody might recommend you some action. If you don't like it, doesn't mean you don't like anime, period. So that's it.
Thanks for your time. Definitely gonna look forward to looking to new ideas of anime, just exploring that genre. I haven't really dabbled so much. I only dabbled in Miyazaki films, but I'm looking forward to expanding my collection and expanding just different varieties of anime, not just hand-drawn, but 3D modeling as well.
Cool.